Good morning, everybody. It's Cowboy. It is Monday. It's going to be a short week. Today's the 20th of November. It is 8:30 a.m. EST, and we are going to go over the markets and see what might be shaking for a couple of days here, about 2 or 3 days worth of trading. I mean, Wednesday probably is just going to be a dud day. And in fact, the whole week could be pretty quiet, although, for somebody who is really looking, you might find something. But overall, it's going to be a pretty quiet week. We got in the U.S. Thanksgiving on Thursday, and that is a national holiday, and it's one of the most widely observed holidays. So be ready for that. If you hear any weird kind of, let's just say the word grunting, I've bruised a muscle, I think is what's happened. I have an old injury. I have a bone spur in my right shoulder on the inside of the socket, and that comes from a lot of weightlifting. And at least according to my sports doctor, who was the doctor for the San Diego Chargers, is a family friend. And this is a little while ago. Long story short, I had the x-rays. And so, basically what this means is that I have been too inactive, and there are certain exercises I need to do to straighten out my posture. And that was it right there. I just moved it, and you heard it hurt. So if I make that noise, don't worry about it. I'm alive. Just dealing with it for now. So I know this injury pretty well, and I'll be over it soon enough. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and put the link out, and then we're going to get into the charts. Let's see here. I'm going to throw this link up in the Rogue Discord for anybody who wants to come see us. And then the Gorilla may or may not be in today, just so you know. He's on the phone with some international people, which means that we probably will have drips. I know I said Thursday in the chat, and somebody very wisely said actually Thursday is a holiday, so probably not. I'm like, oh, that's right, Thursday is Thanksgiving, so no drips Thursday. Maybe it'll be on Wednesday, I imagine. So let me see if anybody's in the main chat. I know we had a question from Be Good on some gaming coins. Maybe we'll take a look at that. Let's see here. We did. Oh yeah, that's right. If you're using TradingView, which that's what we use at Algo Factory, as far as our trading software, it is 70% off for Black Friday sale. So that's one thing to understand. It's a great time if you are going to do that. Because look, I have the premium subscription for there. I think that's nearly $1,000. So 70% off is a great deal. I'll probably just renew, even though I'm not due for that in quite a while. Let's see here. Just looking for that question. Okay, here it is. K-Man, I think it is. Following the gaming tokens and asking for TVK chart. So maybe we'll take a look at the TVK chart and some gaming tokens. That's a whole sector of cryptocurrency that will do well from time to time. I remember Injective Protocol, I think. No, not INJ. It was ENJ. I remember that was a coin that I did like a longer trade on. Got to exit my trade. Hold on a second. Yep. That was the little, I took a little tiny trade on the euro, and my algo just triggered an exit. Trade, algo exit, confirmed. Need another. So I lost not very much money on that. It was a very small trade with high risk to reward on that. So we had a breakout on the EUR/USD, and that breakout actually held overnight. I was expecting a downturn and did not get one. So basically what's happening though is that it does, it's up against some resistance, and it needs to take a break. It seems. It may or may not. I mean, it keeps pushing upwards, and that is what happens on breakouts. Breakouts are a pretty strong move to the upside, where the bulls and the bears have kind of been fighting each other, and they get tired. We'll map it out. I'm going to bring up the screen right now, and you will take a look at that whole thing. And it's something we've really been kind of focusing on. Let's see, we'll share this at Algo Factory, because breakouts, if you can locate them, and we have some tools that we use inside of Algo Factory that we're not going to mention here necessarily, but um, if you have a way to identify a breakout, what'll happen is price will move. It's almost like price kind of winds up over a time, whether it's hours or days or longer. And then that wind up means that as it breaks out, it will break through resistances. It'll be a very strong move. And of course, we make money on strong moves. So, being able to identify that breakout is kind of a key thing. And I was actually monitoring Bitcoin over the weekend, and I had a perfect one lined up, but you know, uh, I was on daddy duty, and for some reason, I can't get TradingView to have its alerts come out on my phone. I don't know what the problem is. I need to work on that. I just it just my phone doesn't want to do that. And even my new phone, same issue. So we're looking at the trade that I had. Of course, you have a massive risk to reward here, 5 to 1. So I just put a little tiny bit of money on this, thinking I could I can make myself a steak dinner or two by risking like nothing and very, very little money. So basically, 5 to 1 means I could risk like $100 to make 500, actually 518 to be precise on this trade. Although I did get some indication that this trade's not necessarily going to go my way. So I went ahead and exited that. And what you're looking at here on the euro is this overall. Um, it's just a slowdown, but it's a thing that's hard to predict on these breakouts. I mean, I could have stayed in the trade, but I have rules, right? And I haven't been really back testing the breakouts. I just back test my method. So the breakout looked promising, so I just put a small amount, literally a test trade, but you can see how the price is kind of, pulling one of these. It's a rounded sort of almost a top, but because this is a breakout, it very well could pull, grab one of these. It very well could just kind of, and then go like this, right? But then again, it also could come down first like that and then go up. So really, we're at a bit of an unpredictable time where the initial explosion out of this consolidation that was about a week long consolidation is gonna it's gonna break and make a decision or not. By the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, I see there are a few people watching. Please do a like, do a subscribe, hit the notification bell, all those things. We'll throw up a QR code. You can go ahead and follow us here if you're new or not. Zap that QR code, go to www.algofactory.tech, find out who we are, what we do. Basically, we help people become traders, people who are brand new and people who are not brand new. We do help people do all that stuff, right? So, okay, back to the chart here. Okay, let me get rid of this there. So, let's see here. Yeah, so we're just, I'm going to hold off on this trade though, because I do think we're going to see some kind of reset. I have an algorithmic way of determining whether or not this has made its move or not. We do have the price action is kind of sloppy to try to determine where it's going to stop ahead of time, because you have it's an uptrend, right? But it's a sloppy one. There's a lot of choppity chop, but you have a one kind of a double bounce right there. So that's a kind of a key area. So right where I have that line, which is where my stop was right below that on the prior trade. So let me get rid of that. And then you have this also move right there. So I would say there's that area where price could bounce. May not bounce at all, may keep going. Now, if it does keep going, my algo will say, okay, go ahead. And even though I won't have as good of a risk to reward, at least I will have had some indication that the price will continue to move up. And I can take that trade a little more safely. Now, there is also this little tiny bit of structure right here. So this would indicate a pretty strong move up. Had I not exited the trade, I would still be in this trade. It would still be going and it would still look pretty good. It looks to me like there is going to be, I'm going to take a look at the tool that we use at Algo Factory. It looks like there might be a consolidation on the lower time frame here. Yeah. Let's see here. What is that? The 30. All right. So let's open this up. Oops. Not what I intended. There. Yeah. So we're just seeing a consolidation on the lower time frame, and price has not left that. So let me set an alarm. Okay. All right. Well, that is, as they say, is that. We'll just kind of look for that on the in the forex market, whether or not this will happen. Look, this is definitely a consolidation on the 5 minute, right? So as soon as price kind of breaks out of this, I think the break is gonna be to the upside. Let me just double check. Maybe not. But if the break is to the downside, it's going to be against the trend. And I don't know that I care to take that trade. There's not, I prefer to trade with the trend, which is upward. The consolidation is not the cleanest. If you take a look at it here, I mean, it's kind of a range, but it's not that clean. And this, if it were to break down, there's just not a lot of room for profit on this necessarily. So to take a short, if price breaks to the downside after this little consolidation here, I might wait for that to play out and then take the move up on the higher time frame. But at any rate, it's just it's Thanksgiving week, so a lot of people are just taking the whole week off. There's probably going to be a fair amount of not much going on. Just an example of what those consolidation breakouts look like. You can see this one; it's messy. I mean, there's not there's this structure is hard to define. Is this the range? Is that the range? And then you have a breakout to the upside. Of course, this is on a Monday morning, before the market's even opened. But this is what you get when you're trading low volatility volume markets. If you can't have a well-defined range, how do you plan? Well, chances are you kind of don't. I mean, you can algorithmically take the move, take the trade. This one here is a pretty good example. Let's see. Yeah, this one was at the end of the real higher time frame consolidation. So this is our clue, a little mini breakout. So anyway, without getting too far into that, I have my plan here. If I can get an upside breakout, then I might be interested in taking this trade to the upside. If I get a downside breakout, then I'll be looking for things to recollect. To like if it breaks to the upside, chances are it will keep going. Chances are, doesn't mean it will. If I get a downside breakout, it'll stop at one of these supports here or maybe there. It should consolidate and then maybe head up, and my algo will tell me what to do. So that's the plan on the euro. Um, we got a long rant, self-admittedly, from K-Man. Okay, so K-Man, we're going to take a look right now at um, your token here, TVK. Let's do that. Man, that arm is just, I know this feeling. It's a bruised muscle. Oh, brutal, man. All right. It's an old mixed martial arts injury. So basically, I have an issue. I have a bone spur underneath, like, I don't know what this is called. It's the socket of my shoulder, of the clavicle, if you will. I need to get rid of this here. Hold on a minute. Hide that. There we go. Hide the branding. It's just in the way. All right. So, yeah. Anyway, so I have an injury there. I have a bone spur underneath the shoulder from a lot of weightlifting, and then I had somebody give me a Kimura, and it just caused me to learn that I have an issue with my shoulder, and the only way to keep that from happening is actually to be consistent at the gym doing certain special exercises, and I just have not been doing that. My excuse is that I'm a new dad, relatively, again. And I got two in diapers, man. So that is what it is. Look, I'm gonna say something here, K-Man, and it's not gonna be exciting for you, but any cryptocurrency right now is just gonna be doing this. So if you want to see a crypto chart, I'm just gonna be telling you the same thing for every chart. It's just bullish right now because of Bitcoin. Okay, so Bitcoin is pushing these things up. So you just look at the prior resistances, and there's a lot of rejections at this line. So all I can tell you, because it's in FOMO right now, is that price might go until 6.7 cents. There's really not much else to talk about. Okay, that's how this works. Um, if you're looking at this time in crypto, all these coins, it doesn't matter what sector they're in. All of the altcoins are just going to do really well right now. It's just how it is. Bitcoin just did like I think it did a times 3 this year, and it's hanging out up in that area. We'll take a look at Bitcoin before the end of the public show here, but all the altcoins are going to head up and they're going to come up to a resistance. And whether or not it breaks that resistance is going to have a lot to do with what Bitcoin is doing. Okay. So let me overlay Bitcoin on this. And then this, I mean, look, I can look at your altcoins, everybody, in Algo Factory. It's fine, but you're going to hear the same thing over and over again. Okay. So I'm going to overlay Bitcoin on this chart. You're going to see the orange line is Bitcoin, and you're going to see Bitcoin move from 16 or really, yeah, 16,000 all the way up to uh, what is that, 38,000 basically. So it did a 1632. So it actually not a times 3, but a times 1.4, whatever that is. And as Bitcoin moved up, right, it stopped. It really kind of peaked out and started to lose its momentum, right here. It started to hit an area where a lot of the market thinks that it's done. Okay. Because if the market thought Bitcoin was going to continue up in a very hard fashion, if the market thought there was a lot more gas left in the can with Bitcoin, then the alts might be hanging on a little bit. But it's either that or you got a lot of moon boys thinking that there's going to be an ETF. And so the whole crypto space is getting a lot of money fed into it. And look, if there may, whether or not there's going to be an ETF is one thing. Whether or not that is actually going to affect the price of Bitcoin is another. A lot of people think that if there's an ETF, then Bitcoin is going to immediately go to the moon. I really think people should understand what it means to sell the news on that. Okay, look up buy the rumor, sell the news. Okay, yeah, thanks, Lisa. Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, I could have that bone spur removed, but the operation would have me out of commission for so long. Best thing for me to do is just to do the exercises because I had that injury. Let me see, 15 years ago, and maybe, and I haven't had a problem since. And I was a gym rat, and just up until the last couple of years, I mean, I was a gym rat even a year and a half, 2 years ago, but at this point, just ever since I had kids, I haven't had time. I mean, that's a total lie. I've had time. I haven't made time. So if I just do those exercises, I'll be good. And then, maybe after a while, when I know I can take a long time off, I'll just get that operation if I really want, have those scraped out. But anyway, so I think it's a bone spur. I don't know if that's proper terminology. So back to the chart. So as this heads up, right? As this moves up, the rest of the alts are in FOMO, and it's based on Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin dominance were to stay on the low trend, on the downtrend, meaning as if more money was going to flow into alts than Bitcoin, or at least it would remain flat, you're going to see these alts head up. And it's all to do with Bitcoin. Again, nothing to do with the gaming space. It's got nothing to do with whatever space. You have a couple of coins out there that are doing their own thing. Of course, I know Monero, one of my favorites, is usually doing its own thing, but Bitcoin even affects that. So people have like their coin in their space that they like, and it's like going up, and it's like, hey, this got nothing to do with your coin in your space right now. Chances are, I mean, there's always that chance, but we're not in the time of the market right now where your own coins are doing their own thing for the most part. You do have, you have a few, but even those ones that are FOMOing, they're probably just FOMOing because they're FOMOing. Get it? Price is going up. People don't want to miss out. They're putting money into it. So I wouldn't be over analyzing the space. And, if you're going to do, this is my own opinion, this is not investment advice. If you're going to do or a fundamental analysis on a cryptocurrency, I would be only considering that for the long term, right? I wouldn't be really considering it for this week or the next few weeks or even the next few months. It might have a spice to it, like an effect to it on, say, like what happens during the bull market. So like a coin with really good fundamentals, or at least perceived fundamentals, might do pretty well in the next bull as compared to other coins. But like what's going to happen this month, I don't think it's making that big a difference, right? It's just all the alts are going up, and you're going to come up to these resistances right here. Okay. So, it just is what it is. And if Bitcoin dominance continues to remain flat or go down, then you're probably going to see a breakout, and it might head up to here, right? If we're in the universe of the 4-year cycle, is changing, right? And it very well could be. We only have 3 halving cycles to look at, 3 or 4. So we don't really have a large sample size. We know what's happened in the past 3, and the past 3 tell us that it's not time for the bull market to really start yet. But then again, things could be different this time. And when you've only had a sample of 4, that's possible. So if things are different and the bull really kicks in early, like what, 8 months early, 9, 10 months early, then yeah, this probably would continue up. And then you would be looking at here, and then would be buying the dips. At least that's what I would be doing. You would have to do what your research says. But if that doesn't happen, as I don't expect it to, I do expect the current bull quote unquote rally to go ahead and dissipate, and we're going to see a consolidation with Bitcoin a little bit lower, and these coins will probably go back into a consolidation at that time. And then once Bitcoin really meets its true price discovery, once it meets a range for the current sort of equilibrium for probably through March or April, then you'll probably see during that time a lot of these alts do pretty well. They'll spike up and then they'll head back down, and then when this halving starts, they'll probably head back down, and then you'll have this whole thing rinse and go again. Jay asks, what about using an altcoin and Bitcoin as a reference on the same chart and then trade divergence, sort of use BTC? Yeah, I don't know, Jay. What about it? I can tell you this: take that idea, back test it, and you'll have an answer, right? So what Jay is suggesting, and it's a good suggestion, but the only way to know the answer is to actually test it, right? But this is what Jay is talking about doing. So oops, let's see here. I'm going to go on a lower time frame a little bit. I'm going to go on the say the daily. And Jay, who's a good thinker, Jay's got a lot of good ideas. One of our members who we've had some extensive conversations. So Jay is suggesting using altcoin and Bitcoin as a reference on the same chart and trading divergence. So first of all, what is a divergence, right? I'll show you. Let me see. Maybe this will be what the clip is about today, because we got about 8 minutes left in the public. So if you want to overlay something on TradingView, first of all, just a little bit of a TradingView sort of tutorial here. Go to the ticker, which in this case is TVK USDT. That's the ticker, the symbol. You hit the plus sign. You type in what you want, in this case, Bitcoin. I'm going to do this on a new price scale because I want to be able to manipulate Bitcoin, right? If you do it on the same price scale, I think you lose the ability to manipulate Bitcoin itself. I'll show you what I mean by that. So now that it's on the chart, Bitcoin price is on the left. You see these numbers, 31, 32, that's Bitcoin price, and that's the orange line. And I'm going to keep it as a line to differentiate it from the altcoin that we're looking at. And then we have on the right the price of the altcoin, right? So that's how you overlay. Now, what is a divergence? A divergence is when prices go in opposite directions. And it might not be price, it might be an indicator, it could be a lot of things. So what we're looking at here is a general trend upward on one item and a general trend downward on another. So the way you do that is what I just did is you go ahead and you put your both of these things on the chart, and you look for when they're going in opposite directions. So I would go ahead and draw it out, right? Like everything's going up right here. You have a slight divergence right here. Bitcoin is headed down, and this altcoin is headed up, right in that area. Right, so there's a slight divergence right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a vertical line to identify that, and I'm going to code it not yellow. I'm going to code it teal. Okay, because it's just not yellow, and it's what I want to do. All right, so now we got to look for another divergence, right? So pretty much it's going the candles here it's the altcoin, right? And the orange line is Bitcoin. So we're looking for divergence. And the trend, you might have we'll call it a flat divergence here, where Bitcoin stays kind of the same or goes up even, and then you have the altcoin heading down. So there's a bit of a divergence there. So we can mark that out. Okay, and then let's see if we can identify one more just to see. Here's one. We have a divergence where Bitcoin is heading up in a strong manner. Remember, this is the daily chart. So you're looking at, several days worth of price action, like a week, maybe. And then you have the altcoin heading down right here. You can even take it as far as this, this area because you have, price remain flat throughout this time or even heading, relatively up. And then what I would do is, okay, now that you have your divergences, now that you have price moving in a separate direction for this period of time, which appears to be a week and a half or so, what do you do with this data, right? What do you do with it? Or what I would do is perhaps I would just bring out some indicators, and I'd say if there's any indicator that has some data that something relevant. For example, the SMI indicator. I don't know what this would even do, but look, what we are seeing here is that the SMI, which is something I'm not going to take the time to explain, it's Algo Factory knows what it's about. You can see that we're getting overbought here. You can see we're becoming oversold here. We can see that we were oversold and oversold again in this area. So what you do with these things is you identify with the vertical line your divergences, and then you try to figure out, is there a way that you can take advantage of this scenario, right? And remember, in this case, the indicators here are for your altcoin. So it may be that you have to actually have a separate chart going or even a second panel. And then you can have, you might have to manipulate whether or not certain thing, like the symbol cannot match a lot of things you'll have to unmatch, which is at the bottom here, symbol, interval, crosshair, things like that. But as you do that, and your drawings can't match either, but you can actively compare. You just have to make sure the crosshairs are synced up. So that's how you do it. You know, that's yeah. As far as what you want to do with that data, you're going to have to do some studying. But there are your divergences right there. Okay. All right. Well, we only have a few minutes yet left. So Jay, thank you for the question. What I'm going to do, K-Man, I'm going to go over the rest of the symbols that you mentioned in the private group so we can go ahead and see it. I see Flashing Blade may have a question here, so I'll hang on just a moment to see if that question is good for the public group to see, or if no, Flashing Blade is no longer typing. Okay. All right. Well, in that case, that's that. I'm going to clean up my chart, and we are going to head over the private. So I'm going to go ahead and throw up the QR code. Again, algofactory.tech, $49.99 is a temporary price. We have certain metrics that will be met, and when they are met, this price will at least double for new members. But if you got in at $49.99, we will grandfather you in with that price for this tier of service, and that will be your price as long as you do not let your membership lapse. So this is you're trusting us early on while we're still, kind of, I don't know, at this point. I mean, we have everything figured out, certainly. However, a lot of people have been with us for 7 or 8 months, however long this has been around. And whoever sticks with us gets to keep this price. That's what's important. And we are badass. We really deliver. I have my own trades that I'm putting up in the room. And of course, we're not a signal service. You're supposed to do your own research. And if your research happens to look like mine, then, oh, well, you got into a trade that looked like mine. So, we do have people who are doing that and making money. At any rate, come join us, and we hope to see you soon. Much love. We're out.